Adolfo López Mateos became president on December 1st, 1958. When he took the presidency, Mexico had several domestic problems, because it was difficult to keep an economy that made possible to counter the disproportionate population growth and also to raise the standard of life in the country. He appointed that the Mexican foreign policy was an instrument to support and to drive the country's development, and that it wasn't possible to develop a country maintaining it isolated from the world. He also mentioned that Mexico wouldn't accept anything that could weaken its sovereignty. Through this policy, López Mateos made a great effort to diversify and expand the international relations, which placed the country in an important international place. On the other hand, internally, even if he tried to integrate socialist aspects to the national policy, his reforms tended to capitalism. At the time, there were rumors of an imminent nuclear war, and tension between the capitalist and the socialist blocs was becoming increasingly violent. He applied pacific confrontations with members of the socialist bloc, which opened the market for economic relations.
He imposed the Treaty of Tlatelolco, which established that a country's society must obey the reforms in order to dismantle nuclear weapons and to stop the development of such weapons. Economy was stumbling in terms of commerce and imbalance, which refers to the equilibrium between imports and exports. But he tried to support industry and impulse foreign investment and tourism. He nationalized the electric industry to promote national growth. Dirty war in Mexico began at the end of the 1960s up to the end of the 1970s. It began with a military repression against the student movement in 1968 with the Ordaz and concluded with a political reform of 1977, legalizing the existence of the Communist Mexican Party and the Mexican Socialist Party. Between 1965 and 1980s, the Communist and Socialist parties produced approximately 29 guerrilla groups in the country. The Liga Comunista 23 de Septiembre was considered the most important guerrilla organization in the country. The League was separated by the Dirty War in Mexico, and many of its members were arrested and disappeared because of the government authorities. But some national officials of Mexico and former presidents like Echeverría and Ordaz refused to call this time period dirty war or to admit that the government used state terrorism tactics.